How's everybody doing? So I'll be honest, I didn't really want to have to make this one. I'm doing this as a response to some fortunate current events. Yeah. And I feel it particularly responsible because I feel like I kind of alluded to 'em. I'm talking about January 22nd, our first school shooting of 2025. Talk about Antioch, Tennessee, where two kids were, yeah. I read some reports and the first thing I'm hearing is racist, bigoted, self-hated young man. And that's one of the things that just really harmed me. And I decided to do something that I don't know, went into his manifesto because I wanted to understand how could this happen. And I just, I don't recommend anyone else read it. I think things like that need to be taken off the web so that they don't further pollute. So this episode is going to be particularly critical. I want to let parents be aware. I also want to call to action to parents. You start policing what your children are looking at online. Do everything you can. Maybe pay for those extra services. Do it. It is critical. It is important. We are in a new era. We are seeing things like never before. That's that's evident. I'm going to say his name once. His name was Solomon Henderson. He was 17. This this topic in particular is really bothersome for me because number one, when I first started pursuing growing just inspired mentoring this past November of 2024, and I was really pushing, for funding and support so that I could one get staff and better equipment to really strengthen my means and attract young people to our mentoring and development. Which I stressed that in my 3 years that I lived in Baltimore, I had witnessed a 200% spike in juvenile crime. One of the things that I think is ironic about that also, in that same period where Baltimore, for example, and I'm sure other inner cities are experiencing similar spikes, is that that's also including a spike in school shootings, with the last 3 years continuing a trend of, it was, I believe, 82, 80, it was like 81, 82, and 83, which means that we are probably expected to have a minimum 84 this year, which means that we have 83 more at minimum shootings to happen. And I don't say that lightly, but I don't say that lightly at all. But the thing that I keep saying is, if we're not doing anything to change the outcome, why do we think something's going to change? Like, if we keep coming at these problems with the same old tired solutions, the same basic trainings, everybody's keep talking about the same thing and arguing to see who's better about producing the same methods. Why do you think these numbers are going to go down? If you do the same things you did last year, why would that number go down? You know, um, and that's why, this frustrates me. When I read it, you know, I'm not, I'm not at all trying to take away from the suffering from the community of Antioch. My condolences to all those affected. May your healing process be swiftly as possible. But complete. But seriously, but I can't help but think that a program like mine, Justin Smile Mentoring, if we were on a broader platform, if I was able to reach minds like that, the same way the filth and dark things that he was able to get into on the web are, I had some of those resources, perhaps this young man could have saw more value in himself. And in seeing more value in himself, he would also see more value in those around him. I keep stressing this thing is really it's it's math, it's scientific how it all spreads. And one thing starts to affect the other. I really just can't stress that enough. And so I'm gonna start to just kind of get into this. The, the two questions that if you're listening, I really want to talk about today. And two questions in particular that I believe just inspire mentoring answers is if one is self-hating, how does that start? What sources one's racist ideology? All right, now before I jumped into his manifesto, I had read some reports from some sources that I find to be valid. I want to give a shout out to one of my Twitter followers. He has a rich community on Twitter where his name is Music Bills. He is a hip hop artist out of Bleed, Atlanta, Georgia. It's gonna be wrong, and forgive me if I am, and I will correct myself. But his name is Dan Boy Big. I believe it's I actually was kind of referencing him when I was making a jab at and again, it's not to ever say that I want anybody to not get the riches, but it's frustrating when you see an artist like Dan Boy Big. I challenge you all to, when you hear this, go to Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, all platforms. Follow this brother's music and listen to it. It's not only curated well, the music has themes, the beats are inspirational, it sounds professional because it is, and it's rich. Meaning, what I'm telling you is when you listen to this artist's music, you are going to leave with something. It's transformational. All right. His name is Dan Boy Vic, DATBOBIC. And if you listen to his music and enjoy it, which I know you will, he also has a YouTube channel. I don't know it at this time. I will get some more information on that with upcoming content and make sure that you're aware of it. But I will tell you, you should follow him on X, the Twitter. I'm always on Twitter, but on that platform, he's known for creating rich, and I tell you, really, really rich threads that just go in depth on different topics. I've actually been trying to get him to kind of join me on my ambitious journey of completing my online academy for young men. I believe that as a hip hop artist, he can create engaging teaching content. And I know that to get into our traditional schools, we create so many unnecessary barriers for people that are already equipped to do the great work to get in as a former educator who's on the outside looking in due to the barriers in poor system management that we have. And remember, Black men only make up 2%. So it's pretty apparent they don't want us there. But this is not to talk about that. Um, and you know what's one more anecdote I want to make about that? When I think about the unfortunate, the many times that we've had school shootings, one of the times that always stands to heart is when a Black man, he may have been a coach or gym teacher, I don't care what he was, but it was a Black man in that building that got that kid and got that gun. I have been in a school that has had multiple guns in it multiple times. We, Black men, are the reason why those young men give those guns up and don't do any harm. I'm not trying to guilt people into saying, hey, maybe if you had more Black men in your school, that wouldn't have changed. That's not what all I'm saying, but I will not step away from saying if you draw that inference, I would say you probably are correct in making that guess because that's that is a great possibility. But I want to dive into more of where this young man was coming from. And again, reading on this report, it stated that Solomon hated Black. And I'm reading quotes now. These are not my words. This is the report states. It says that Solomon hated Black people because he didn't fit in with them, but he didn't fit in with anybody. So he listened to Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes praying about Black people's bad behavior, and it radicalized him even more. But in the end, he was sick with self-hatred and hatred. I don't think you need the double entendre hatred. I think just that self-hatred itself is going to radicalize everything else. If a person has no love for themselves, they're not truly going to have love for anyone else. There are rare cases, but there's something unpure in it. There's just something not pure in it. Um, Going through the report that I have, and I was going to share some of this, but I really don't want to glorify it. I think that we do too much of that. And we need to stop sharing these images. I believe that sharing these images, it programs and multiplies it. And you can argue whatever you want, but the numbers support what I'm saying because they keep going up. All right. But there's audio of him doing the attack, and he uses the same terminology commonly used in these popular online shooting games. What is it? I don't play those games. I play SmackDown, Grand Theft Auto, um, Command and Conquer, NBA 2K, Madden, Spider-Man. I don't play Call of Duty, War Gods of War. I don't know what these games are called, but there's this is what happens. Because I know I witnessed this about 10, 15 years ago with my younger brother. He likes to play that garbage. I see him play it online with his friends. And I remember walking in the room and I'm hearing the profanity and the N word, which we're going to talk about some of this episode. And I was like, what the heck? This isn't fun. Y'all were playing, but this isn't fun. And he's like, oh, it's all right, man. This is what people do, man. And they started using this in cells and all that crap. And I'm just like, what? How? I just, I try. I believe you can never impose your views and feelings on other people. So I just step away. But I have noticed that there's growing people that are playing these games and interacting like this desensitizes, or maybe it does more than just desensitize. Maybe it also devalues, which kind of comes with desensitization. If there's no sense, no feeling to it, what's the word? All right. But again, he used that same ideology in terms when he was going to his class students. But going through the writing, I will agree with the report as I sadly had I struggled to read through some of that myself. He stated in some of his writings that Candace Owens influenced him the most. And he would also state that video games, music, TV, movies, and literature teach the youth violence. And if you can go back to my last breaking thoughts where I shared to you MLK's Nightmare, I break down exactly what I was talking about. All right. You don't need to keep getting all these examples. Stop arguing with me. I know it's hard to make change when you've been doing wrong for too long. But he speaks to it right there. All right. Not to say that this is a great person as being a spokesperson for me, not at all. But I talked about the de-evaluation and loss of our standards. You know, I just heard a song today with Bruno Mars. So I love Bruno Mars, classic music. He just made the trashiest record I ever heard, man. With of course, Sexy Red. Cool. Again, I just wish these people could make music that was tasteful and still profitable. Why do you have to sell garbage to make a living? And it just really infuriates me, you know. But again, last on another note, I want to do some further research on, and this is what I mean when I say our house is on fire, and this thing came to your door. People used to act like solution is only a white people problem, but it's no longer that because this young man was born to a black Israelite family, and he turned into a black Nazi. That's how toxic our community is. People want to act shocked, like I can't believe it. Act like you don't know. Remember the episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Carlton and Wilson were in college and trying to join a fraternity? And, Will and Carlton, they really wanted to do this fraternity thing. Carlton in particular, being a positive brother, educated, he just saw the opportunity to join with a fellow group of men, look like him, the opportunity to advance ourselves and do great work that can not only help ourselves elevate, but also elevate our community. And all he wanted to do was positive things. But of course, brother thought that was corny, though he was whack. They didn't see it. And so they wanted to bring Will in the fraternity, of course. And Will was cool. Yeah, you know what I mean? But they want to bring that square, corny dude Carlton into. And the reality is Carlton was on square. Carlton is real. The punk was Will. Because Will would always change to fit into wherever he went. But Carlton stayed unique to himself all throughout his life. His sweater messes, his cardigans, whatever, his little dance. That's his dance. Carlton didn't have to look at other people and follow a trendy dance. No, Carlton has his own dancing that makes him happy. And unfortunately for our people, the mass numbers don't understand this mindset of being yourself makes you happy. That's why we love to follow and copy trends. And the irony is we set the most, but we never capitalize on it. So first I want to talk about in one is self-hating. How does this start? As I was going through his manifesto, and we can start with the title, sadly, the nigga cell. Throughout his writings, he places so much emphasis on the word nigga and capitalize it. Before I go further, I want to define this word. First of all, I think it's been used far too often, too candid, in little regard to the origin. And as time goes, this for me has become really concerning. And sadly enough, as I was preparing for this episode for you all, I did some research and I noticed something really ironic. When you look at the dictionary now, it only makes reference to the N word in Black people. But I remember vividly, and I will do some digging with my parents' old dictionary. That word specifically said ignorant people. It did not specify a person's color. It specified it was an ignorant person. This is important to know. And a lot of over time, let's say 50 years, for example, the word has shifted from ignorant person to ownership to entitlement of a people. And with entitlement, remember, words are powerful. You feel cold, act cold, and you do something because you're cold. If you think you're stupid, you're going to act stupid and you do stupid things. Hence why I always empower people. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was growing up, when we played football, my dad used to police the heck out of us to use the N word. Like he was with it. Nowadays, coaches use the N word. Like you see, it's so much of a disregard for like what's right and wrong. And that's because everybody's looking and just like whatever, man. Everybody's getting lax. And this is how we got here. This is where self-hating becomes. All right. You can locate any older dictionaries. I'm gonna tell you, like the 90s and older. I promise you, you're gonna see what I'm talking about and have a different definition in there. All right. If you want to find some older dictionaries, here's some tips. You can look in schools. They throw all those things out all the time. They don't see they can't hold stuff for so much. So schools are great sources to find like valuable old books from a far away different time, dystopian past. All right. I try to always grab a few classes when I can. And in fact, I'm sure I have some around here somewhere. So I'll definitely be sure to do some digging, man. And follow me follow Justice Law Mentoring on Instagram. Follow Justice Law Mentoring on Twitter. And I will post that. All right. So now, with time, too much ownership's been taken on to the word. As I read further, something that really hurt me was the reference to how he felt like he was not good enough because of, my second episode, on Just Inspired podcast. One of the things that I talk about is how, in our spaces, that we're not only acknowledge our potential, but we're also going to talk about how, hold on, I'm sorry. He felt, I'm misreading it. I guess I'm still reading. Maybe I should have. Forgive me. Okay. But as I read further, something that really hurt me was his reference to how he felt like he was not good enough. But, because on my second episode of Just Inspired podcast, many of us in spaces that would not acknowledge our potential. I opened up with that whole little rant. You know what I'm talking about? That's where I was going with it. Forgive me. I had to work that out. I'm human, guys. It happens. This is a lot. So forgive me. My mind is all over the place as I'm reading this. Again, on that second episode, I talk about how a lot of us are brilliant, but we're in spaces that won't acknowledge our brilliance, you know? Like, and we can talk about this on so many levels. And it's not only a Black thing, it's a person thing. If you're an entrepreneur, if you worked hard to build your business, there were a time where you weren't doing that well. and you surrounded by people. If you're trying to start your own business, this is a great example. Work for yourself and be surrounded by people that work for people. The mindset's almost always on the line. Something that you think about, they're gonna think it's crazy. So that they think about, you don't think it's crazy, right? So neither one of y'all are wrong. You're just talking to the wrong people. You belong with self motivated people. They belong with, you know, work. They have to be managed and stuff like that. That's that mindset. Some people can do both, but they usually do. All right. Or I would also argue that people that are passionate about their work, they can relate to entrepreneur because although they may still answer to a work schedule, they're working for a purpose that's beyond just the paycheck. So I'm really talking about when you're working, we're talking about people that are just there to get a check, which is sad. But that's the sadness that builds up over time, because we got to do what we got to do at the end of the day. So I say all that to say that, many of us in the space that just don't acknowledge our potential. But that doesn't mean it's not there. So, what breaks my heart is I just wondered if perhaps same representation of a black man like me. That's right. A black man like me. I believe with all my heart and soul. I don't care what anyone else believes that my image, my likeness, my spirit, it breathes life and ideals. I'm a light in dark spaces. And this young man was in a very, very, very dark space. And I'm going to work even harder now because you know what? This is an example of how if you can save one, that's all it takes. You can make enough. One can be a change. One can be the difference. All right. So I take this as a moment where you know what, Justin? You dropped the ball. You did like my man Andrews, you know what I'm saying? It happens. But we're not delaying these projects anymore. It won't be the best production. Hopefully with time, I'm continuing working, finding ways to fundraise, to get better equipment so that I can move faster and do better stuff so I can get this message out to you. Cause you know what, you need me. You do need me. I look at the top 20 polls for education and youth. I don't see anyone like me there. And when I looked at this young man's picture, I'm disgusted at the act. But if you just take away all of the terror, that young man looks like a lot of beautiful children that I've worked with in the past. And so, and I know some people are not going to be able to interpret that. And I get that. But I think now more than ever, we really got to take our youth more serious. We really got to do more for them. And we can't keep the status quo. It's got to stop. This kid clearly knew. He really felt like things were terrible. He wanted better. And I think the problem is when we have these negative thoughts and all you can do is go to places like, you know, um, these polarizing figures who don't necessarily have the interests of the community. Well, that's what's misleads you down these dark paths. But what if you had someone that represents the community's interests, but still represents the change in standards? That's how you get transformational help. All right. So that's why this breaks my heart. Yeah. I'm going to work hard on that though. Like I said, it don't matter. Even if it's just one, that's all we need. That's all we need. That's all we need is one. Tell you something how numbers work. I got 84 views on that last video because I had sexy red as the thumbnail. If I got 84 kids that were just feeling really negative, feeling out of it, if I got 84 kids to look and watch my words and choose to do something different with their lives, 84 is the number, right? Because I think there were 83 shootings last year, so there should be 84 this year. That's the trend. If I could get that 84, I didn't. I did it. It don't matter if I don't get 84,000, 84 million views because with those 84 people, all minds change, I could affect millions. And it's a shame that, that may not quantify for money and views, but I'm not doing this for money and views. I'm doing this because I think about my younger nephews, my niece. I want the world to be better for them. I've already had my best of it, I think. And it's not to say that I don't have, great times left. I'm still enjoying it. I'm enjoying doing this because it has a purpose for me, or everything I've been through this, it makes sense. Nothing's in vain. And I could not see myself being happy riding out in the sunset, knowing that there's a world so rotten and that they have to just go to school every day. No, I can't. I gotta do what I can to be a space, to create space, and just give an opportunity. That young man needed a space. He needed a constructive adult that he could vent these frustrations to. And that person is me. So, I'm waiting for things to be perfect. Many of us do. And there's never no perfect time in the present, you know. Looking at the progress I've made, I would often tell people this probably could have been a worse time, but I still made, I still made progress. Right. It's about staying in the mission, and I apologize for this rare attention. This situation really resonates with, I know it's going to resonate with someone. And all of this just really I just feel like it all amplifies and speaks to where I'm at and what I'm trying to do. We all need to get it on our mission. My mission is create an environment where young men feel empowered, supported, supported enough to grow into healthy, contributing members of society who are intellectually free thinkers and economically independent and viable producers in the community. All right. Let me be clear. Now, I want to talk one more time about self hate. I want to talk about self hate. I want to talk about, through mentorship, the just inspired approach. I want to talk about how we attack self hate. At Just Inspire Mentoring, our mission goes beyond guidance. It's about transformation. The mentorship framework, core values, and ethos are all built to target and dismantle the destructive patterns of self hate that too many young people face. Self hate isn't inherent, it's learned. It grows from a lack of representation, societal pressures, unresolved trauma, in a world that often teaches our youth to undervalue themselves. That's why Just Inspired is rooted in empowerment, self discovery, and purpose. Our approach, reflection, we help young people understand their past, not to dwell on it, but to heal and grow from it. Vision, we guide them in creating a future where their dream and potential take a center stage. Values, respect, perseverance, leadership, and community are at the heart of everything we do, reminding them of their work and their responsibility to lift others as they rise. Well, you know me, as they climb. Self hate is self hate cannot thrive where love, purpose, and belief are planted. That's why we strive to do every day, helping our youth see themselves as the powerful, capable individuals they truly are. Together, we can destroy self-hate by inspiring self-love, pride, and the courage to rise above. If you believe in this mission, join us in mentoring, supporting, or simply spreading the word. Every action counts when we're working to build stronger, healthier futures for the next generation. Let's inspire together. Let's destroy self hate. That's it. You know. But now to my next point. Hold on a moment. This is the big one. All right. This is a big one. I want to talk about what sources one racism ideology. Are you ready for me now? What sources one's racism ideology? Oh boy, they got the screen out for me so I can read. Thank you. I wish I had a team that could help me do this one day. One day. Could you just imagine me with a team of young people helping me do all this? Oh, that would be so dope. Uh, one day. One day we'll be together. I believe it stems, excuse me. What source is one's racism ideology? Simple. I believe it stems from being presented with ideals that someone is less than or not valuable. And then to support this feeling or idea, you incorporate negative images, feelings, experiences to intensify and sensationalize this idea. So let's say, for example, I saw a young man, rich with potential, and I want him to hate so-called black people, right? Since that scene, unfortunately, that's that's what we're kind of dealing with at the moment. So I tell him, yo, you're stupid. And I show them examples of people talking ignorant with undesirable behavior. And all I do is keep presenting him with reoccurring theme via images, videos, songs that just demonstrate these low values of these damn people. That young man will start to wonder. And to help transform, you know, my process, to help bring it to life, I place him in an environment where I know it's a high concentration of these same black people that he'll interact with, just like I've illustrated. They'll call you name, make you feel like you're not worth anything, only because you're different. Somebody even take you to another level and harm you beyond just calling names. You know, I've witnessed aggression acts on innocent people. It doesn't get called a hate crime when it's done by your own people. All right. But if you're still listening, well, you can see the easiest strategy, right? It happens all the time. Move a kid into a community. When I was growing up, when new kids moved into the community, they always had a hard time with high school. Like I remember one kid who was fighting all the time. What if somebody would have came to that kid and been like, you know what? You're great. It's not you, man. It's them. And he just started fueling all that. Do you know how easy it is to turn somebody and make someone that all you have to do to make someone feel a victim is support them in it. All right. That's all you got to do. That's all this is doing. Support it enough, especially if there's nothing to counteract it. All right. And so again, and remember, as this person is a programming this young person with all these negative thoughts and views of the alleged black people and their damned alleged culture that we've created, you can't help but count on the radio and the TV to show you more examples of these people in low spaces and low examples. Because my God, if we can't get a biography that shows somebody in a positive light without doing anything wrong, because for some reason we are just all on this message about nobody's perfect, as if striving for perfection is just something that's wrong. It's all right to strive for perfection and end up all right or good, but if you just aim to be good, that's why so many end up bad. But I'm not here to talk about that right now. Okay. I'm here to talk about how the popular low values that overflood our media from different waves, cut on the radio is trash, cut on the TV. If you don't take care, organize your algorithm, you're going to see trash. Like literally as a black man, when I first opened my business line and I remember I set up a Facebook account. I didn't like anything, but I was still seeing you know, woman in well, to some would be flattering, but undesirable ways. I was still seeing terrible media. Like there's these TV shows where they'll have like 20 girls and they pop a balloon on a guy. I have never wanted to see anything like that, but it keeps coming up. Why? Because they want me to see these things. You know, like you have to probably look to see me. They don't want you to see. And that's messed up. But this is positive. This is attacking a lot of the negative stuff that you're used to seeing. So it's gonna be hard for this to end up in your algorithm. So it's not really if they don't want you to see me, you have not communicated that you want to see that stuff. Because like we always say back in the day, talk is cheap. You say something, but what are your actions showing? You know, it's just like the diet. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, I want to lose weight. I want to be healthy, but you can't stop eating trash. And you wonder why you have a trash body. It's not genetic. It's what you genetically put in it. All right. But positive black folks become outliers with this person inundated with all this negativity. finds produce somebody positive unless he's producing on a regular basis to continually fight out and push off those negative standards. All right. And this idea has been littered all over this young man's manifesto, which is why I want to stress it so much. All right. Why he has such a sinister mindset. I believe that document needs to be destroyed. I want to be real clear about that. You know, it was sad and painful to read. That's why I wear these shades, because I think my eyes are probably still red. Um, but that was really hurtful to see that. A young man that could have been so much greater, could have been so much greater than me for sure. He could have done so much good for so low. You know, I wish I could do more. You know what? I'm not going to wish. I am going to do more. I mean it. I won't stop working. All I have to do is get one. That's it. All I have to do is get one. I know I'll get more, but I'll work for at least one. That's it. It's enough. It might be the next one. I know with all my heart. I am a living, breathing anti-Semitic racism thoughts and ideology. I prove all that wrong. All your mindsets wrong. You can't relate those struggles to all men, but I can. I can relate the struggles of all men. 'Cause I've been there. I know what it's like. My struggles have been on a higher level. You know, I know what it's like to struggle. I didn't have to go to jail. I didn't have to be shot. I don't have to have, just because you don't have these same negative examples, don't mean you can't identify with what it means to overcome. As a matter of fact, this is probably more what our young people need to see. They need to stop being caught up with just these one linear ideas of what the struggle is. There's so much more than that, which is another reason why I am so needed. They need to see me. All right. And again, like I said on that little promo I did earlier, my experience is diverse and my education reinforces and challenges my experiences. So I know what I'm seeing is real and I understand what is my biased idea. And I'm gonna push back. Sadly, most people, they can't make that distinction because they only living off education or they only living off experience. All right. And what I'm saying is, yo, if you just working with the kids because you from around the way and you just love the kid, but you never took a class, you never done no reading, all you have is experience. And that's good and appreciated, but you should really humble yourself and learn and respect those that have. If all you have is just text, 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 and you have no lived experience, that's dope. But you need to be a true scholar, and a true scholar knows their limitations, which you are really limited. You have no field experience. You should yield and seek the critiques from those that only have or have both field and lived experience. Why? That's now going to heighten what you know. You can even probably connect some of what you read in literature to lived experiences. Together, you both may be able to understand. All right. But again, sadly, most of us don't want to be that patient. You prove my point as soon as you comment. But when I ultimately, what hit me the most about this, so this young man is part of Martin's nightmare. Injustice Fire was built to serve as a force to keep alive the mission and dreams of great men like Malcolm, Martin, Marcus, Muhammad, Booker, Roger, and so many others who knew and believed in a better way. I want to talk about how Just Inspire is here for enriching minds, empowering change, breaking barriers through stories of impact. You know, and Just Inspire, one of our critical missions is to enrich the minds and challenge the narratives that divide us. And I like to use impactful stories and powerful lessons from history. All right. We aim to demonstrate how men and women of all backgrounds have made transformative contributions to society. We believe that understanding the true breadth of human achievement is key to eliminating racist mindsets and dismantling the stereotypes that limit us. You know, our approach is designed to empower through history by sharing stories of resilience, innovation, and leadership. From diverse voices, we show that greatness transcends race, culture, and circumstance, challenging stereotypes. We confront the false cultural boxes that confine us by presenting examples of individuals who define expectations and broke barriers, inspire unity. By recognizing the interconnectedness of human progress, we cultivate a mindset that values collaboration over diverse and respect over prejudice. Every lesson we teach, every story we share is a step toward a world where no one is inspired by stereotypes, rather celebrated for their potential and contributions. Our goal is to inspire a generation that embraces diversity as a strength and rejects the harmful narratives that perpetrate inequality. So I ask you, together, let's trample over limitations of bias and build a future that values truth, empowerment, and unity. If you share this vision, join us in spreading these lessons and values to create lasting change. Let's inspire growth. Let's inspire unity. Let's inspire change. Thank you for taking the time to hear me out. I promise my next update will be for something positive. This is Mr. Tucker. I'm out.